Hello everybody and welcome back to more political chatter. In this video we will be talking about my updated House of Representatives predictions in 2024. Now, these I don't typically do very often, and that is because there are 435 congressional seats, and it does take a while to characterize all of them and to make a prediction in all of them. However, the House is just as important as the Senate, and it is just as important as the President, and it is so important to talk about which party will control the House of Representatives in 2024 because that is one of the three um, branches of the the legislative wing of government. That's the word I'm trying to look for. One of the two. So of course the House of Representatives is so important. So I have filled in red and blue all of the seats where we basically are 100% certain how they are going to go. These are 15% or higher margins, safe states. This would put Republicans at 174 electoral votes. Sorry, not electoral votes. Oops, so used to saying electoral votes. And 174 House of Representatives members, Congresspeople, seats, House seats, and Democrats at 156 House seats. Now, 218 are needed to win. So obviously, Republicans are at quite an advantage after the safe states. But let's see if Democrats can make up for it in the closer elections. So we will just start. We're not going to go really in any likely to lean to tilt because I know I'd be forgetting about some and then going back to likely once I'm on lean, and I would just be all over the place. So it would really make more sense to just start in each region of the country and make our way around the country and see which party gets to 218 in the majority first. So we'll start in Maine's 2nd Congressional District. I do have the 2022 results, which will be extremely important in seeing how these candidates will perform in 2024. So in 2022, Jared Golden, mind you, this is a very rural district represented by Democrat Jared Golden. He won by 6.1 in 2022 and 6.1 in 2020, the exact same margin. However, I do think I would put this in the lean margin column as this isn't a presidential year and it's going to be a lot more Republican than in 2020, so that will help Republicans down ballot. Looking at New Hampshire now, this isn't one we really need to talk about too much, but Ann Custer is retiring in New Hampshire, but still, she won by 11 in 2022, and she won by 10 in 2020, so I don't think that this one will get particularly close. I would put that as a likely margin win, as well as Chris Papa's seat in the 1st District. And then we head over to the state of Connecticut, where George Logan, the Republican nominee, in Connecticut's 5th district, really shocked people when he got this margin to 0.7 to 0.8 basically. Jahana Hayes, the incumbent, won by 11.6, almost 12% just 2 years ago in 2022. So this wasn't really on the radar for one that we had to watch all that much, but it really was. And I could really see this seat being a flip for Republicans. But I honestly think that Republicans did much better here than they would have in a normal presidential year because this was a midterm, right? But I think that this being a presidential year that typically would help Republicans down ballot since Biden is unpopular, but in a safe Democratic state like this, I think that it really would encourage Democratic turnout, and Jahana Hayes does hang on by a lean margin by just about 1%. So she narrowly increases her margin from 2022. And then we come to the state of New York, which is interesting, this state, because they changed their congressional maps. Whoops, forgot to fill in that safe seat right there. But again, they changed their congressional map. As you can see, these were the results in 2022, and these are them in 2024. So not hugely different, especially when you look at Long Island. Long Island's districts are, I think, exactly the same. Yeah, I mean, basically exactly the same, it looks like, yeah. just a little difference next to the 3rd and 1st congressional districts. But for the most part, they resemble the original congressional districts, but these slight changes do make a huge difference when you just look at the numbers from 2022. Again, this is 2022. Brandon Williams won by less than a point. Mark Molinaro only won by 1.6%. Pat Ryan only won by 1.3%. Mike Lawler won by 0.6%. D'Esposito won by 3.6%. So there were so many. There were multiple, about 5 House races that were so close back in 2022, and this map benefits Democrats. This makes Democrats do better than they did in 2022, not by much, but slightly. It does help Democrats. This is not a gerrymander by any means, but this is more Democratic friendly than the 2022 map. And this is a presidential year. But not even that. Just the fact that Kathy Hochul, the governor, isn't on the ballot. Kathy Hochul, she only won by 5.6 as a Democrat, and she really weakened Democrats down ballot. So this was a result of her unpopularity and her just doing really bad when she was up for re-election. So Democrats are going to do a lot better in New York than they did in 2022. So starting with Brandon Williams' district, the 22nd district, he won it by less than a point in 2022. I think that whoever the Democratic nominee is, I believe her name is Sarah Hood, who is favored to be the nominee. I believe that she flips it by a lean margin. Tonko, don't know who that is, but sounds funny. Tonko won by 10. He'll win by possibly safe, but to keep it on the safe side, if that makes sense, I will keep it likely. And by the way, I forgot to say this, but as for the margins, tilt margins are less than 1%, lean margins are 1 to 5%, likely is 5 to 15%, and safe is 15% or more. Margin of win, that being. Now moving on, Mark Molinaro in the 19th Congressional District of New York. He won by 1.6%. I am thinking that, this is a rematch, by the way. Josh Riley is running again. I think that Mark Molinaro narrowly loses. This is a tilt margin pickup for Democrats, I'll mind you. This is a pickup, as well as the Brandon Williams district, the 22nd district. So we already have 2 flips for the Democrats. And then in New York's 18th Congressional District, Pat Ryan is an electoral beast. He won in 2022. I'd honestly say he wins by, I will say lean, I suppose. And then we come to Mike Lawler's district. And this one's tough. Because it really does depend on who the Democratic nominee is. If Mondaire Jones is the nominee, I don't know who would win. It would be so close. I think that both of them could win, but I honestly think that Lawler is narrowly favored over Mondaire Jones. However, it is just about 50-50 right now, according to polls in the Democratic primary for this seat. There's a more moderate Democrat running against Mondaire Jones in the 17th Congressional District, and he could very well win too. So, when you consider all those factors, and by the way, the other Democrat would definitely beat Mike Lawler. But when you consider all of the factors and mush them together, I would say that Democrats are narrowly favored to pick up this seat in the 17th Congressional District. Yet another gain for Democrats. So New York will be the key to the House majority for Democrats, if you haven't realized already. And I forgot the Staten Island District. That's safe for Republicans with Nicole Malinowski. No, I don't know. I won't even try. And then we come to the Tom Suozzi district. That's the George Santos district. That's the 3rd Congressional District. Tom Suozzi will hang on by a likely margin, I believe. So this one, okay, so we have another safe seat that I forgot right there. That's the 21st district. That might, forgotten safe seats that might happen throughout this map. And then going to the 4th Congressional District, I believe that, the 4th. That's D'Esposito's district. I believe this is another rematch. And he won by 3.6 in 2022. But I honestly think that Democrats, this is another flip for them. I think they win it by a lean margin. I don't think that D'Esposito is very good of a candidate. And if Democrats have good funding here, they could pretty easily beat him. And then we come to my hottest take of the entirety of the 2024 congressional map of the congressional House predictions, and that is the New York first congressional district. Nick LaLota won by 11%, 11 in 2022. That is a pretty good margin, especially when you consider the fact that Biden won this district by less than a point. However, you have John Avlon, who is a former CNN contributor, and really just a spectacular candidate through and through. Uniting. He's got lots of money for his campaign. He's running a good campaign. He's a centrist. And he is just really a very strong candidate compared to Nick LaLota. And then you have George Santos running again. And he's probably going to get on the ballot. And I'm not saying George Santos is going to get like a quarter of the vote. He'll probably get like 5% of the vote, if that. And literally all of that will come from the Republican Party. So I would say, again, this is a hot take, but I think that John Avlon does win this district by a tilt margin, yet another flip for Democrats. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 flips for Democrats in just the state of New York. Again, New York is the key to House majority for the Democrats. They need to focus on winning there. I'm looking at New Jersey now. I think I forgot another safe seat. Yes, I did. That being the 2nd congressional district with Jeff Van Drew. But anyway, let's see. So this is going to be a likely seat. This is the Andy Kim district. He's retiring to run for Senate. And then we come. Oh, wow. Okay, I forgot another safe seat. Sorry, that's happening quite a lot. And then we have Tom Keene Jr.'s district, who won by, 2.8% over the incumbent Tom Malinowski back in 2022. I think that this one will be a very tight race. And considering that New Jersey is a very Democratic state, I would think that this does help Democrats down ballot. And I think that Biden being on the ballot, the presidential election being on the ballot, does weaken Tom Keene. But by 2.8%, I don't think so. And I don't think that Tom Malinowski is even running again. And I think that this will definitely be narrower than in 2022. But I'd actually say that Tom Keene does hang on. A very critical hang for the Republicans. Pat Fitzpatrick? No, that can't be his first name, can it? Pat Fitzpatrick? No. Oh, I have to check now. Oh my gosh. Brian Fitzpatrick. Always wins by absurd amounts, and no one knows why. This is a Biden seat, by the way. Biden won that seat by quite a lot, but he hangs on again by a likely margin. Not much of a surprise there. And then we have Susan Wild and Matt Cartwright, both won by 2.0% and 2.4% in 2022, respectively. And they were both expected to lose, so this was a big surprise to a lot of people. And I would say that they have proven themselves time and time again, and they are both just electorally strong. So I would honestly, I can stop saying honestly, please. But I would think that they would both hang on in 2024, even with the presidential ballot helping Republicans in this scenario. And then we have Chris DeLuzio in Pennsylvania's 17th district. He won by 7. I wouldn't be surprised if he wins by just under 5%, so he does weaken a little bit there. Now moving on to the state of Maryland. Not much action going on here, but just looking at the margins from 2022. David Trone is retiring, but he won by 10, so that one won't get too close. That'll stay likely. And then, of course, we have Andy Harris, who won by 11 in 2022, so that one stays likely. And now the state of Virginia, we always have 3 House races to watch here every year. The least competitive of them being the 10th district. We have Jennifer Wexton, who won by 6.5% in 2022. I would say that Democrats actually increase their numbers, run up their numbers here in 2024 compared to 2022, because Trump being on the ballot does help them, since this is a very anti-Trump state. So Wexton wins by a likely margin. Spanberger is retiring to run for governor, but I would say, let's see, considering, oh, wow, wait, I did not know the districts changed like that. But, that's insane. That's barely even the same district. But I would say that, honestly, whoever is the new nominee in the 7th district actually makes it a likely margin win. And Kagan's winning by 3.4% in the 2nd district in 2022 is tough, because this isn't some razor-thin margin, right, that could easily flip. So I do predict that Kiggins actually does win again, that the presidential ballot doesn't hurt her too much, considering that she's not a huge supporter of Trump. She's not outspoken like that. But she does only win by like a point or so. But I would still make it a lean margin win for her. And I did leave North Carolina completely blank, and that is not because every seat will be competitive, but because of the fact that they changed up their House seats a lot. You can see that comparison side by side, and these are vastly different seats. This was 2022, this is 2024. So I'm not, confident on a lot of these races. I'm really not. And it seems like a lot of other predictors, who give ratings like this aren't either, because they put toss-up for a lot of these seats instead of actually making a real prediction like me. But anyway, looking at these seats, the way we know that they're going to go, and by the way, this map change really favors Republicans. This gains them a couple of seats. But Democrats will hang on to whatever district. It seems like, it looks like they will hang on to whatever district that is. That appears to be the 2nd district. And then they won the 4th district by quite a lot, Democrats. So that looks like it mostly resembles this district right next door. So again, I'm just guessing for a lot of these, comparing the maps side by side. And then we have some safe Republican seats like this. I guess that's a likely margin, but you get the idea. And then you've got the 3rd district, the 7th district on the coast here. Those really do resemble what they were in 2022. And then you've got these 3 districts that are kind of resembled, not really in 3 parts, but it looks like this district, or this district, I meant to click, and this district are all Republican. And yeah, it does appear that this one right here, in this shape, is going to be a gain for Republicans. That is a new seat that they created, kind of. Now, this square-ish one in the middle is kind of tough, but it appears, looking at the 2022 map, that this would favor the Republicans slightly, so that's another gain for them. I would put that as a likely win, or possibly even lean. I would say that is a lean win for them. And then, let's see, moving over a bit now, this district right here, right to the right of the lean district, include some of the 9th district, some of the 4th district, some of the 6th district. So, this one is very difficult, but I would think that Republicans are slightly favored here as well. I would say that's a likely margin win. And then this district right here really does use a lot of the 1st district, which went Democratic by 4.7 in 2022. So I would say that this one narrowly goes Democratic, I'd say by probably a tilt margin, honestly, if I'm being honest. And then you've got the 1st district, which somewhat resembles what it was in 2022. We've got Don Davis running for re-election. This one's tough, but considering that they probably made it more Republican, and considering the fact that this is on a presidential year and this is an instance where it would help Republicans, I would say that Republicans would actually flip this seat. This is a flip for them by a tilt margin. Nancy Mace wins re-election by a likely margin. Benny Davis wins re-election by a likely margin. Going down to Florida, we have a couple competitive seats. We have the 9th district, which went to Democrats by 7. And that was a very Republican year in Florida. Democratic turnout will be heavily increased this time around. So I would say that he wins by a likely margin once again, as well as Castor in the whatever district that is, the 14th district. We have Anna Luna in the 13th district, who won by 8. I would say that she narrowly hangs on by a likely margin. Not narrowly hangs on, but she narrowly gets over 5% margin to make it a likely margin. And then we've got a couple districts down here near Miami County. We've got Jared Moskowitz, who won by 4.8 in 2022. I'd say he wins by a likely margin this time around. Moving up north, Frankel won by 10, and Schultz won by 10. Those would stay likely as well. So we're done with the East Coast states, finally. Now we can move over a little bit. The 1st District of Tennessee with Andy Ogles, that will go Republican by a likely margin. He will win re-election. Moving on to Ohio, we have 5 competitive House seats, which is which is a lot for a state like Ohio, or really any state. So looking at the 3rd District with the 9th District, my apologies, with Marcy Kaptur. She has been in Congress literally forever, I think since like 1980 or 1982 or 84 or something insane. But she won by 13%, a really good win for her back in 2022. But obviously, in a state like Ohio that is Republican, Trump being on the ballot really does benefit Republicans. And in the instance of the 9th District, the Republican was very weak as a candidate in 2022. But still, I'd say that it's likely. All right, I'm going to try to move a little faster now because this is really taking a while. Amelia Sykes won by 5. I would say that she does hang on, but by a lean margin only. This district, the 7th District, is interesting in 2024 because we've got Max Miller against the Democrat, whatever his name is, in a rematch. But we also have Dennis Kucinich. Yeah, the former congressman from like 2000 or 1998 or something, who ran for president in 2004 or something. Yeah, he's running as an independent in the seat, the former Kennedy campaign manager. So that really shakes up this race, but I gotta keep it on the safe side. And keep it in the Republican hands. But I'd say only by a lean margin. But that is one Republicans should watch. Ohio 15 actually goes safe this time around. And then we've got Greg Landsman, who won by 5.5 in 2020. He is in a close race, I'd say, but I would keep it a lean margin as of now. In Indiana, we've got Frank Mervan in that 1st congressional district, who won by 5. I would say that reduces to a lean margin win for him there. And then looking over at Michigan, we got Billy Huizinga, I don't know how to say it, but he wins by a likely margin. Alyssa Slotkin, what is her name? Hillary Schulten wins by a likely margin there. And then Hillary Slotkin's, what am I doing? Jeez. We've got another competitive seat. We've got Dan Kilde's district. He won by quite a lot. He won by something like 10% in 2022. But he's retiring. So this one will get a lot closer. I would say a lean margin win for him there. And then we've got Hillary Schulten's district right below. She is also retiring, but to run for Senate. So this one could be a sleeper race in 2024. But considering the fact that Biden is favored to win in Michigan, I would say that the Democrat is very slightly favored to win by just a tilt margin. I also think that John James has established himself as a, well-known Michigan politician now, and, he is now this district's politician. He won by a very narrow margin in 2022, only 0.49%. I think that this this is really tough. I would have to say, though, considering just how close it was in 2022, and presidential ballot probably helps Democrats down ballot, I'd say that this is a flip for Democrats. Whoops, wrong map. In that the Democrats actually do win this by a tilt margin. Maybe not. That's a tough race to call. I think everyone can agree on that. We've got 2 somewhat competitive districts in Illinois, even though they're not all that much competitive. Eric Sorensen won by 4 in the 17th district. and someone Foster won by 13 in the 11th district. So definitely the 11th district is likely, and I would say that Eric Sorensen wins by a lean margin once again. Presidential ballot doesn't really affect things probably in a state like that. And then in Wisconsin, we've got Derek Van Orden, who won by 3.7 in 2022. Seems like we have a somewhat strong Democrat running. At least she's running a good campaign. Her name is Rebecca Cook. So it's tough, but I mean, there was a popular governor on this ballot 2 years ago. So I would actually think that Derek Van Orden does hang on, but that I would say honestly by a lean margin. I don't think it really gets any closer than that, considering just the demographics and how rural this seat is. And then the first district went to the Republican by 9% in 2022. But a congressman from the 90s, a Democrat who represented that seat in the 90s, is launching a bid again to try to get back in. So we'll see how that plays out. That could be a sleeper race. But as of now, I'm thinking it actually does narrow down to a lean margin. Looking at Iowa now, Hinson won by 8, Miller Meeks won by almost 7. I would say that both stay likely because the presidential ballot helps Trump. Or helps the Republicans. And then Zach Nunn won by 0.7 in 2022. He increases his win with Trump on the ballot to a lean margin win this time around. Angie Craig wins again. I would say by a likely margin. She is now a popular, established, well-known politician in Minnesota. In the 2nd district of Nebraska, this is really one to watch. I think that Tony Vargas wins this seat. This is a flip. Don Bacon loses re-election. He won by, he won by 2.7 in 2022. But Democrats are already clearly very focused on winning this race. Tony Vargas, this was a way better performance than anyone really expected. And it was a tough defeat when they lost for a lot of Democrats because it looked like this could be a flip. But in 2024, I could see them actually pulling it off now, if Tony Vargas is able to run a good enough campaign. Sharice Davids is an electoral beast also. She wins by a likely margin, by quite a lot, actually. And then we come to the 3 competitive districts in Texas. We've got who is on this side? Oh, Tony Gonzalez. So Tony Gonzalez won by 8. With Biden on the ballot, that really does help Republicans. It really does because Biden is so weak, especially in this Latino, in this southern Texas, with the heavy Latino population near the border with Mexico. So I would say that this one actually does reduce to a lean margin, I'd say. Henry Cuellar's district, he won by 13. Now, that's something else. I would say he wins by a likely margin again. And then we've got Monica de la Cruz, her district, that's the 15th district. She won by 8. She only expands from there. That was a pretty solid win. She also wins by a likely margin. Looking at Colorado now, in this district right here, the incumbent's name is Kadira Yeraveo, but she won by less than a point in 2022, but presidential ballot helps Democrats in a blue state like Colorado, and I'd say she's more well known, more popular than in 2022, so she wins re-election. And we've got the former Boebert district where Lauren Boebert represented this district. She is moving over to Ken Buck's district, trying to carpetbag and win in that district. We'll see if that's successful. That's safe Republican regardless. But we have Adam Frisch, the guy who almost beat her, is decided by 500 votes in 2022. But we have another, the Republicans put up another weak nominee in this district, or at least it's looking like they will. This guy, very weak, very out there. And Adam Frisch will win this time, I believe, probably by a lean margin. Now looking at New Mexico, we forgot a safe Democratic district near El Paso. Looking at the 2nd district of New Mexico, Gabe Vasquez won by 8.7 over the incumbent Yvette Harrell in 2022. I guess this would be a likely win there. But with the presidential ballot, I definitely think that it helps him, but that could be one to watch, but we'll see. I really doubt it. I think that Gabe Vasquez does expand his win of 0.7. In Arizona now, we've got 1, 2, 3 competitive districts. The Eli Crane's district, 2nd district, not so much. That's going to be a likely margin win regardless. Juan Kiscomani, this one definitely does narrow up because all of these districts do because of the abortion referendum on the ballot. And I seriously think that Houston Angel the former representative who represented this district, could potentially win. I think that is completely in the realm of possibility. But I really don't know. This one is a very close district. But I think that Juan Kiscomani is a strong candidate. He is more on the moderate side. That, of course, helps. So I would say that Juan Kiscomani is narrowly favored to win this district by under a percentage point. As for the 1st district, David Schweiker, the incumbent, won it by 0.8 in 2022. I think that this one flips. I was very uncertain just a couple weeks ago, but now, with the abortion referendum likely to be on the ballot, with Biden probably winning Arizona, I'd say that Democrats flip this one, potentially by a lean margin. As of right now, I would say just above a percentage point. Looking at Montana, I used to think that that Democrats could flip this seat, but that was when Biden was favored to win, and now it's gotten a lot closer with Trump. So down ballot helps Republicans, so Ryan Zink wins by a lean margin once again. And just an update here, just to give you an idea of how close these races will be. Republicans are at 207, Democrats are at 206. 218 are needed to win, so we'll see who wins. But looking at Nevada, the Democrats did a very nice job. It's not really a gerrymander, but they structured their districts really well, so that they're not all that very competitive, but they're not safe, so that they could expand their vote across the state. So I think that all 3 incumbents, Dina Titus, Susie Lee, and Stephen Horsford, do all hang on. I would honestly think, I would say that all 3 do win by a lean margin, but all won by near 5%, so I don't think that we would see these races get too competitive. But those are 3 critical wins for Democrats there. Now looking at the state of California, a very critical state, we have many competitive races here. So Kevin Kiley won the 3rd district by 7. I see this reducing to a lean margin, but he still wins regardless. We've got the 3 very Vietnamese districts down near San Francisco. We've got Michelle Steele, who won by 4.8 back in 2022. I think that this reduces, but she still does win by a lean margin. That is my prediction. And then you've got, oh my gosh. What's her name? Kim. Oh, I can't think of it right now. But she is very strong electorally. She could win by a safe margin. I'll keep it likely to be on the safer side right now. And then Ken Calvert. This one will be close. It was by 4.7 in 2022. I definitely think that Will Rollins is a strong candidate, and the presidential ballot being on the same ballot the presidential race being on the same ballot will benefit Democrats across California. That being said, 4.7 is not some 50-50 margin, and I'd say that Ken Calvert does narrowly win by less than a percentage point. Katie Porter won by 3.4. She retired to run for Senate, so she's not up again. However, it is a presidential year again, so Democrats hang on by a lean margin. And then Andy Levin won by 5.3. He expands his win there. That is a likely margin win there. We've got Mike Garcia, who won by 6.5 in 2022. However, in 2020, if you'll see, the district is different, but he won by 0.098. That was a really close, shocking win by Mike Garcia there. He was not favored to win that seat. But that being said, he does prove time and time again that he can win, and if he won in 2020, he probably does again. So I'd put that as a lean margin win for Republicans there. Brownlee won by 9. She wins by likely margin win again. And then we've got 4 more competitive districts in California. A couple very close. David Valadao won by only 3. I could see this as a flip, but 3 is not, again, some 50-50 margin. I think that if he is well-funded enough, I haven't heard anything about his opponent, Tony Salas, so it appears that he is not, running some national campaign, bringing in a lot of money. So I'd say that Valadao is favored to win by a tilt margin. Democrats in the Silicon Valley district win by a likely margin. And then you've got David Duarte in the 13th district, won by 0.42 in 2022. I think that this is a flip for Democrats, considering that it is on a presidential ballot and everything. And Duarte doesn't appear to be super strong of a candidate from what I've seen. Let's see. Let's check in 2022 if he was. Yeah. No, that's Valadao. Yeah, so he is a newcomer in Congress. He was not the incumbent. So that was an impressive win in 2022, but he probably can't replicate it in 2024. Let's see. In the 9th district, we have Josh Harder, who won by almost 10% in 2022. He wins again by a likely margin, and then we've got another likely margin win there. This is another likely margin win. Again, a lot of these aren't close, but they're not quite safe. And then we've got the state of Oregon, where we have a couple close races. Lori Chavez DeRima won by 2.1, and Andrea Salinas won by 2.4 in 2022. I definitely think that Salinas can hold on by a lean margin, and I do think that Lori Chavez DeRima, it's going to be really, really close in her district. But I would think that she can actually hold on, saying that Democrats really don't have a lock on Oregon anymore. That was the case a few years ago, Trump administration, Obama administration. But really, after unpopular Democratic governors and presidents, they're not all that powerful there. And I think that Lori Chavez DeRima can hold on. Kim Schreier will hold on in the what district is that? I don't even know, and I don't even care. And then I do think that we've got a rematch in the 3rd congressional district between Mary Gluesenkamp-Perez and Joe Kent, Democrat versus Republican. MGP somehow narrowly won this seat. She was given a 2% chance of win by Real Clear Politics, and she won. By 538, and she won, which was astonishing. This time around, I think that she can expand her win to a lean margin. And finally, we've got the state of Alaska. This is probably another likely win for Mary Peltola, who is an electoral beast. So that concludes my 2024 House prediction as of right now. I'm sorry if I went too fast at the end, but I didn't want this video to be too long. It was very long, as it is. But I think that Democrats win 221 seats, Republicans win 214. 218 are needed to win. So that means that Democrats do win a very narrow majority in the U.S. House. That is a 7-seat majority, 3 more than they need. So thank you all for watching this video. Make sure you go ahead and subscribe. That would help out a lot. I hope you all enjoyed, and I will see you all next time.